Hi everyone, Helen Blunden here, or Activate Learn on Twitter. It is time for another book review. And yes, I've been on a roll. I've been reading some wonderful, wonderful books of late. And I just want to share them with you. I just want to share them with you. Now, today's book is, as you can see, I'm not holding it out. It's actually in my Kindle. I bought it and downloaded it onto my Kindle. As you can see, it's very well worn. I love it so much. It is Donna Ward's She I Dare Not Name. And the book is here, there. Anyway, the book I found from another booktuber by the name of Jacqueline, who has a YouTube channel called 6 Minutes with Me. Now, Jacqueline reviews New Zealand and Australian books. I highly recommend you follow her channel. She briefly mentioned this book, but it immediately struck a chord with me. Why? Because of a few reasons. The first reason is I have many friends, male and female, who are unmarried and don't have children, and I love them to bits because they are the best company, and we could spend hours together. They always come back with great ideas, and they always put me on a high, and I love them to bits. The second one is the term spinster, which always kind of makes me go, ugh. But I had to look up the word. Spinster comes from Middle English called spinnen. It's a 14th century term, obviously meaning spinning fibres into thread. And it's saying here that unmarried women were supposed to occupy themselves with spinning, and hence the word came to be the legal designation in England of all unmarried women from a viscount's daughter downward. Now, let me just add here, I'm a knitter. I have friends who knit. I have friends who spin a lot. And boy, do I love the craft that they do. Spinners are great people. They spin beautiful yarns beautiful fibers into stunning, colourful yarns that they create and knit beautiful garments, and they give out to their loved ones or to people who can wear it and feel loved and warm. So reclaim the bloody word spinster, because it should mean someone who just gives a beautiful art or beautiful piece of clothing to the world. Anyway, I'm reclaiming the word spinster. It should not be a bad word. And the third one is I kind of aligned with it because I got married quite late in life. I come from a Greek background. Now, that's another thing in this book about the Greek. Anyway, we'll come back to that. I come from a Greek background where all my life I have been surrounded by people saying I've got to get married to a nice Greek guy and pump out bloody little kids left, right, and centre and have a family and continue life. Is that, and I never got that. I never got that. So much so I joined the Navy just to disappear from it, and decided that I'm not going to get married. So I was going down a life of spinsterhood, and I was quite okay with that. I didn't want to have boyfriends. I didn't want to date. I didn't want to do all the normal things that normal people do. And at 36, someone came into my life that kind of spun it out of control and made me question every single thing. But it could have taken me down a different path completely, entirely, but it didn't. But you know what? This review is not about me. So these are the three reasons why this book kind of went, ba-ba, you've got to read this. And I'm glad I did, because Donna Ward is a writer. She's an editor and a publisher, but she also has, I think, a sociology degree. So she has, this sociology degree. This is her first book. Now, if you're expecting a book like long stories, long chapters flowing from one to the other, it is not like that. It is a series of short essays. Some of them are quite long, some of them are short, but they're essays that kind of span different times, and we get snippets, her memoirs of her childhood and her parents. And her parents just seem like fantastic people. Anyway, she also talks about solitude. She talks about solitude as being a direct path with relentless intimacy with oneself. I love that. I love solitude. And she talks about how sometimes when people ask her whether she is married or whether she has kids, and she goes no, that it's kind of like she feels that there's this awkwardness that people can't speak to her. I don't get that. If you can't speak about other things other than your married life and kids, what are you doing? Anyway, again, not about me. Anyway, so what else does she, the way she writes is, it's beautiful. She weaves some kind of mythology as well, Greek mythology, and she talks about how, you know, when she has a male friendship, there's always a Calypso or Penelope behind the scenes. So some woman is always behind the scenes, a lost love, an unrequited love, an ex-partner, whatever it is. So she has to deal with that. I also love the fact that she talks about where she lives and how where she lives is quite important to her, of course, because, you know, when someone is making all the decisions for themselves, a sense of place is really important. Her home, her surroundings are really important. Another eye-opening thing for me was the fact that she talked about the word single and how a lot of people relate to the word single nowadays, even if they're de facto or if they are divorced. They term themselves single, but in actual fact, no, they're not, because they just simply, they might have kids, they were married, but the situation, the circumstances now make them single. But her book is for the women who have not married and not had children. So that's a completely new market that I must admit I haven't read a lot about. And in fact, a lot of the times I feel as if they're invisible, they're not talked about. You know, sometimes we do hear about the bachelors, you know, the married men who are single and living the high life. But I think also for them too, there's a story there, especially now, you know, that in my life I've got men who are who have never been married, who don't have kids, who are fantastic, but for whatever reason and are not married. So there seems to be a big market here that has been unexpressed or not valued or not communicated or not made visible, which is actually quite sad. There is another part of the book which I love, was the fact that she said that she could spend 9 hours with someone, and you know, when there's no obligation, those 9 hours pass really quickly. And I must admit, these, with all my unmarried childless friends, I love this. I love this about them. I could just spend an entire day and there is absolutely nothing. But then what happens? I come home to my husband, to back to normal life. What is it that they do? And sometimes I think, maybe I should think about this. Maybe I should think about them more often. So reading Donna's books, reading Donna's story made me really think and reflect about, you know, my behaviour towards them. So very interesting book. Very courageous, very honest and brutally honest at times. But I would say one of the best books for 2020 already is this book. So Donna Ward's She I Dare Not Name. Let's reclaim the word spinsterhood. Spinster, it's really a good word. We need more spinsters in our lives. Anyway, that is it. Let me know what you think if you've read the book, and enjoy it. Buy it, download it, read it, whatever you have to do, just do it. Bye for now.